What's going on, guys? It's Treezzy, and I'm here with my first video on this channel. So today we're going to be talking about why I love One Piece. And this is just a discussion about basically why I love One Piece. And I have some notes here, got a couple bullet points on just the things I want to talk about in this video. So the first thing I'm going to talk about in this video is the way the story is told. Like the way the story is broken up into different story arcs and the different topics about the arcs. So starting off, my favorite arc personally is Dressrosa. And I love Dressrosa because of the amount of things that are going on. Also, the villain, which Dofi is my favorite villain in all of One Piece. And just everything that happens from the Tontadas to the main Dofi fight to the Coliseum to destroying the Smile Factory. Everything in Dressrosa, it's very finely detailed, but it's also a lot of things going on at the same time, which is really impressive because being able to do that as a mangaka and just being able to portray all those different things at one time is wild to me. And that's why I think I like it so much. Yeah, so the way that One Piece is broken up into the sagas is why I love it, partly because we start from the East Blue, which is a really small, contained ocean. And with us starting so small, we get comfortable with the characters and the interactions that they have and the power system being devil fruits for that time. And so by getting comfortable and getting to learn Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, and Nami, we get to get comfortable with those characters before introducing more crewmates down the line. And once we get into the Grand Line and the New World, everything's just blown wide open. We get interconnecting story arcs. We get Marineford, we get the time skip, we get everything great about One Piece that I would consider peak One Piece. So yeah. Another thing I want to touch on is the character designs. Now, One Piece is very unique in the way they design characters, and it's very noticeable. You see a character from One Piece, you know that's from Oda or that's from the One Piece anime. And the reason why that is good and part of why I love One Piece is because to have a popular series, you want it to be recognizable in every avenue. So you want the logo, the songs, the way it looks, and the characters to be very noticeable and recognizable, and it sticks in your head. So we want to start firstly with how the characters are like proportioned and how they look in total first. So in One Piece, the characters go from small tontadas to giants and everything in between. So we go from the Tontadas to people like early One Piece Kobe, like first episode Kobe being really short, stout, and kind of chubby. Then we get Luffy, who's a normal regular height, 5'7", which is average human male height in our world. But then you get people like Dofi, the Admirals, Katakuri, Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido. Those people are all reaching 16 to 30 feet tall, which is showing us the range, and then we don't even touch giants until way after that. So by showing us the different body types, it has something that almost everybody can relate to. Also, I'm not talking about the people who's 9, 16, 30 feet tall. Nobody can really relate to those people. But having people that range from shorter, like basically like dwarves and the Tontadas, to normal body size people like early One Piece Kobe, to Luffy, to Nami, to Sanji, and everybody else. But the one thing that isn't so great about the character designs in One Piece is post-time skip women. It's a certain, it's a certain figure that they all have, and it's very unique. I know some people don't like it. Personally, I find it nice. It's very, I don't know the word. It's very like comfortable in the way Oda is. Like I feel like as we from the east to now, we've seen Nami like a slow progression in the way she looks. So she's grown skinnier, bigger bust, and how everything is going. But we also see that in Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy. We see how Luffy started off as just like as a skinny 17-year-old from in the east. It's now being a ripped 19-year-old as we are now in Wano, and we see how he got there, and especially after the time skip, the results are very noticeable because he went from that skinny kid to being ripped with a six-pack after we haven't seen him for 2 years in the story. So yeah, that's a very important thing to touch on part of why I love One Piece so much. the other thing I have written down is top tier villains. Now, when we're talking about villains, One Piece is so clear of almost everything I have read. And from Blackbeard, Doffy, the admirals, to Buggy, to Kuro, to the East Blue villains, to Don Krieg, everybody like that. So we have the great Machiavellian, really evil people that we have now, but we can't forget where it started from with Buggy, Kuro, Alvida in the East. So that's very important. We had a slow progression of build up to these big top mastermind pulling villains. Like, they're pulling strings behind everything. Like with Blackbeard, he constructed everything from taking the Yami Yami no Mi to fighting and capturing Ace to Marineford to now. Like, him pulling strings from Jaya and before the story even started to now is something that we would never have thought of. Like, from episode 1, we would not have thought that where we would be now, that Blackbeard would be pulling every single string possible. Then you get people like Doffy who are enticing the underworld of the One Piece world itself. Doffy pulling the strings on the underground on the flip side of things. He's not controlling everything that goes on in the world. He's controlling a small fraction of the world in the Smiles and getting them to Kaido, which Kaido is controlling a very isolated area, but he's also a Yonko. So that's like the type of thing I'm talking about when I mean top tier villains. I mean villains that are small, from Doffy just being a regular pirate to the Yonko, Big Mom, Whitebeard, Blackbeard, and everybody like that. Kaido too. So yeah. Now, I want to talk on the bounty system. The bounty system is a very unique way of measuring a character's strength. So I have the bounty posters above where I'm filming right now. So if I look at that, that's what I do. We have people from Chopper who have 100 berry bounties, which basically means he's a weakling in the world government's eyes, to Whitebeard, Luffy, Roger, and like Kaido, Shanks, and Blackbeard, people like that. So we go from small fry to the greatest pirate of all time, and it's not direct correlation to their strength, but it's a good gauge to see where they are as progression wise. So we know Luffy started with a really small bounty, and I went to 1.5 billion. So we can see the linear progression from that small one to now. We can see that with every character. We could a good example of this is Zoro and Sanji. What happened in Whole Cake Island is what made Sanji get a higher bounty than Zoro. Because Zoro wasn't in that arc and wasn't included in the things that went down in Totland with this assassination plot and everything like that, he didn't get a bounty raise along with all the other Straw Hats. Sanji did. So in the world government eyes, because of the assassination tip on Big Mom, Sanji is now slightly stronger than Zoro is in the world government's eyes. We know personally that they're about the same, but the world government thinks that they tried to kill Big Mom, which makes him a higher threat to the world government because he was just there and he participated in the Tea Party incident. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is just the general world of One Piece. The world of One Piece is very unique because of the sea system. 95% of the world is all ocean and water-based. And that's really unique because we don't really see that in a lot of manga and anime, at least the ones I've read personally. I don't know what you guys have read. You could tell me that in the comments. But yeah, we start off in the East Blue. Tons of villains, 100 episodes, 100 chapters of the East. Then we enter the Grand Line, which is a very high step above where we were in the East. We have crazy weapon patterns, strong villains, more devil fruits. The first half of the Grand Line was just slightly different from what we used to know. We used to see one devil fruit per arc mostly in the East, and then we got to the Grand Line. We're seeing 2, 3, maybe 4. We get later down. Then we have the Marineford incidents, which showed us what the other side of the Grand Line was really like, the New World. And then we have the time skip, obviously, and we actually get into the New World. We start off with Fishman Island, which is basically showing us where the Straw Hats are in that arc. And then we see that the weather patterns in the New World are even crazier, even worse. We get stronger people. We're going into Yonko territory now in the side of the New World. We get to see We see Totland, which is Big Mom's territory, and we see how massive that really is, that archipelago really is, with all the different islands. Then we get to actually Whole Cake Chateau, which is an island in itself, which was what we were expecting back in the East in Paradise side of the Grand Line. And now being in Wano, we see how far and wide the Yonko's power and chain of command really goes. So now we learn that Kaido was controlling everything that Dofi was doing, which was controlling everything that Caesar was doing. So we see how strong politically and physically the Yonko really are. Another thing I want to talk about is the goals that each characters have. And by that I mean Luffy want to become the Pirate King. Sanji want to find the All Blue. Usopp want to become a great warrior of the sea. Chopper want to be a great doctor. Nami wants to draw a world map. Robin wants to... I forgot what Robin wants to do, to be honest with you. But it's not really unique because everybody, like from Naruto to Black Clover to MHA, they all want to be the top thing. I want to be the Wizard King. I want to be the Hokage. I want to be the #1 hero. Every shonen protagonist has that. But it's the side characters in the Straw Hat Pirates that also have that, which makes it very unique. Normally we see 1 or 2, maybe 3 characters in a normal anime max who have that sort of high ambition. But almost every single Straw Hat on the crew has an ambition that's just as crazy as Luffy's. And we learn that from when we get introduced to Zoro. Luffy wants to become king of the pirates. Zoro wants to become the strongest swordsman in the world. Those are 2 equally crazy things that they both want to accomplish, and we assume that they will accomplish by the end of the story. So, with that being the case, we're going to see them go from what they were in the East, having a struggle against Buggy, to defeating Yonko, becoming the strongest. Because Zoro's eventually going to have to beat the world's greatest swordsman, whether that be Mihawk, Shanks, Fujitora, or somebody else that we don't know. He's going to eventually have to beat Yonko and Admiral level fighters to reach that. And we know that Luffy will also have to fight Yonko level at minimum, and if not Roger level, if we don't know how high that goes, people to become the king of the pirates and find the One Piece. So yeah. All right. Okay. The time skip. Now the time skip is not a new thing in anime. I've seen many time skips, short time skips to long ones. Like Naruto, from OG Naruto to Naruto Shippuden, the 6 months time skip in Black Clover, the mini month time skips in to MHA, to posted behind me, to the small time skips in Haikyuu. It's not a new thing. It's a very common story trope that we've seen throughout the years in anime. But the way that One Piece does it is very deliberate. We know why they have a time skip. We see what happened in Marineford, how it showed Luffy that if he couldn't save his brother, what good was he doing to protect the Straw Hat Pirates? So something clicked in his head that we need to get stronger, and that's why we had the time skip. Marineford directly made the time skip happen because Luffy realized, I can't beat all these strong people to protect my crew if I could barely save my brother. So by that happening, we got a 2-year time skip where we know that they were all training on different islands because of Kuma. We found out that Luffy knew, like, everybody was training hockey that had it at the time. Everybody was doing different things, which also made it a great source for them to get stronger in a very small amount of time. 2 years isn't a small time, but the break from the chapter, the time skip happened to the chapter that they met up at Sabaody Archipelago was only a month break in real time, but it was 2 years for them. So we saw in 2 years in a month for us. So in 1 month they went from barely being able to beat Kuma to them smashing basically the clone robots of Kuma, which had all the powers of him. We went from them being struck like an all-out battle against Kuma to Sanji, Luffy, Zoro one-shotting the the robots basically. So yeah. Okay. Next I want to talk about how the characters dress. So we know that anime characters don't really change up their appearance a lot besides specific anime. And we know why that is. They're more consistent to draw, they're more recognizable. But even though they don't change clothes very often, they still do it. From one like from one episode to the 100th episode, they didn't all look the same. Nami often changes outfits. Luffy doesn't really, but the other Straw Hats do, which makes it different. And we see that they're like tied to where they are in the story. So in Thailand, Luffy wore a suit and had the little hat over the straw hat that he had. In Wano, we see everybody get a new appearance so they could blend into the Wano society, which gave them a concrete reason to change clothes so Oda can make new designs for the characters, which is very it's not experimental, but it's a fresh look for a series that's been going on for 23 plus years. Next, I want to talk about my favorite villain and my favorite character in all of One Piece, Don Quixote do Flamingo. So his backstory is just one of the reasons why I love him so much. Him coming from a celestial dragon to being a bum chased in the streets by regular common people, and him hating his father for it, is perfect to me. If that happened to me or you or anybody else in the world, coming from basically being seen as a god to being chased around by people who used to think but were below you, is a very quick and swift downfall from what he grew up as. So him becoming basically a really evil person and a pirate and killing his father was the result of his father bringing them down from Marie-Joie and not making them celestial dragons anymore. So that's a big reason why I like him, because it gives him motivation and gives him a concrete, valid, logical reason to be the person he is. He killed his father because his father made his life terrible. In his eyes, his father is the reason why his mother died. And the last thing I want to talk about, the crew. All the characters on the Straw Hat Pirates, including Jinbei, Carrot, those characters are just great and phenomenal characters altogether. The way they interact with each other is logical and nice, even though we don't get to see the interactions very much on this ship. We see them off the ship and in battles. I want to touch on the rivalry between Sanji and Zoro that originated in Little Garden with the hunting contest. That's just like, and we know when the going gets tough, they're gonna defend each other and they're gonna be by each other's side in the fight. But it's a running gag that they don't really like each other, but they will still work together in the end. And I just think that's a great way to show that they have a really close friendship, but they also like bickering and they just get on each other's nerves. And we just see that, we see the friendship between Chopper, Luffy, Usopp, and everything. We just see them goofing around most of the time. But when the going gets tough, they come together as a crew and fight the threat that's at hand. Now, we even see Nami and Robin. We don't see much of them like interacting together, but we still know they have a tight friendship because of their roles on the crew. So that's all that I have for this video. It was running for 18 minutes. So yeah, this is Treezzy signing out.